The air is thin and sharp, tasting of pine and whetstone not found in the homeland. It has been 3 moons since the clan crossed the ice that bridged the worlds. This is the Vanguard, a scouting party of 5, sent to read the story of this new land. They move through a forest of impossible minus-sized trees, their footfalls silenced by moss and 100,000 years of instinct. For these early humans, survival is a language spoken in broken twigs and the scent of distant rain. Their journey is a pivotal moment in hominid history, a silent step into a continent untouched by their kind. The Nid Scout, a man whose face is a map of scars and seasons, raises a hand. The party freezes, becoming stones, becoming shadows. There is no sound, and that is the problem. The birds are silent. The endless drone of insects has ceased. The world itself seems to be holding its breath. The scout's gaze follows a trail of flattened ferns leading to a clearing. The smell hits them then, the coppery tang of a fresh kill, thick and heavy. In the center of the clearing lies the reason for the silence. It is a mammoth calf, or what is left of it. They have hunted its kind before. These giants are the Pleistocene megafauna, but never have they seen a kill like this. The ribcage is a shattered lattice, the skull crushed by a single colossal bite. Flesh has been scoured from bone with a terrifying efficiency. It was not killed for hunger alone. It was annihilated. The old man of the party, his hands gnarled around a spear tipped with a masterfully napped clovis point, kneels by the carcass. He ignores the kill itself. His focus is on the mud around it. There, pressed deep into the earth, is a trap. It is splayed, 5- clawed, and as wide as his chest. He has seen the tracks of the great cave bears of the old world. But they were clumsy, shuffling things. This print speaks of something else entirely. It speaks of speed, of long, loping strides. Another hunter traces the line of tracks away from the kill. They are not random. They are paced, deliberate. The creature that made them was not wandering. It was patrolling. Decoy. Guttural sound is exchanged between the men. It is a sound of pure, analytical dread, the result of a paradigm shifting in the collective mind. They are the apex. They are the thinkers, the tool-makers, the masters of fire and coordination. This is the core roof of their existence, the engine of their relentless expansion across the globe. But the evidence before them presents a new and terrifying hypothesis. Here, in this new world, they are no longer the greatest danger in the woods. They look at each other, the confidence that carried them across a frozen ocean evaporating in the chilling silence. Their mission is no longer to scout for game. It is to comprehend the nature of the thing that is now, undoubtedly, scouting them. Quietly, they begin to back away, erasing their own brief history from the mud. Their understanding of prehistoric life and human evolution is being rewritten in real time. Not with insight, but with fear. The retreat is not a panic. It is a precise, backward unspooling of their path. Each man a ghost in the other's footsteps. They are a single organism of survival, communicating through the subtle shift of weight, the flick of an eye. This is the strength of their kind, the silent contract that has allowed their human ancestors to help miners think ice and drought. But the silence behind them breaks. A sound like a rock slide echoes through the colossal trees, followed by the percussive crack of a trunk snapping. It is not the sound of a beast moving through the forest. It is the sound of the forest being moved by a beast. The unspoken consensus is immediate. They have been marked. The hunt has begun. They run. The forest floor becomes a blur of green and brown. They are first. Their endurance honed by a lifetime of pursuit. But the sound behind them gains ground. The thunder of its footfalls shaking the very soil. The youngest of the party, his legs pumping, risks a glance over his shoulder. He sees at them, for the first time. It is not a bear, not in the way a bear is known. It is a tower of muscle and fur on legs impossibly long, an Arctodus simus in its prime. It moves with the fluid gait of a wolf, its massive head low, its short, brutal snout sniffing their trail of fear. It is a god made of claws, an evolutionary answer to a question no one had dared to ask. The leader screams a single, sharp syllable. It is not a word of fear, but a command. As one, the remaining for pivot. The two flanking men drop to a knee, fitting darts to their atlates. This is a tactic tested against bison and giant elk. A volley of stone minus dip death. The throwing birds whip forward, and the spears cross the space in a heartbeat. Both strike true, embedding in the creature's shoulder and flank. The beast stumbles, more in surprise than in pain. It stops, turning its head to look at the quivering shafts protruding from its hide as if they were bothersome insects. Then it lets out a roar, a sound that is not born of air but of the earth's molten core. This is the moment of truth in their chronicle of ancient humans. The moment their technology, their intelligence, their very identity as masters, fails. The creature charges, closing the distance with terrifying speed. One of the spearmen does not have time to rise. The bear is upon him, a single swipe of a pull. A flash of obsidian minus black claws. The man simply ceases to be, his life extinguished in a red mist. There is no time for grief, no space for shock. For the survivors, he is already part of the past, as the great bear pauses over its kill. The remaining three are already gone, melting back into the trees. They are no longer hunters. They are no longer explorers. They are prey, stripped of everything but the will to run. Their flight is no longer retreat. It is a desperate search for a new idea, for a weakness in a creature that appears to have none. The vast, indifferent wilderness of a world that existed million years ago has just served them its brutal, unassailable truth. There is no more strategy, only instinct. The three remaining men run, fueled by the purest adrenaline. The forest thins, giving way to a broken landscape of ancient stone, a place where the bones of the earth push through its skin. The leader, the one who carries the map of this new world behind his eyes, veers sharply, not toward the open plains, but into the labyrinth of rock. This is a desperate gamble, an act of cognitive mapping under duress, staking their lives on a memory from the first day's scouting. He remembers a choke point, a passage too narrow for the world's true king. The air burns in their lungs, the fire matched only by the terror driving them. The great bear is an avalanche of fury behind them, its roars echoing off the canyon walls, promising an end that is swift and absolute. The old man, the one who first read the monster's tracks, begins to lag. His breath comes in ragged, tearing gasps. He stumbles, falling to one knee. The young scout turns to help him, but the old man shakes his head, his eyes locking with the leader's. In that single, shared glance, a decision is made, a hard choice born of a brutal calculus. It is the cold logic of prehistory, where the survival of the group is the only victory that matters. The old man pushes the younger one forward, then turns to face the approaching thunder. He brandishes his spear not as a weapon, but as an insult. He lets out a final, defiant cry, drawing the beast's incandescent rage onto himself. It is an act of ultimate altruism, a life traded for a few precious seconds. The leader and the young scout do not look back. To witness the sacrifice would be to waste it. They scramble into the crevice, a crack in the world barely wider than their shoulders. The rock is sharp, tearing at their skin. Behind them, the old man's cry is cut short by a sound of sickening finality. Seconds later, the monstrous head of the Arctic US Samus appears at the entrance, its roar compressed into a deafening jet of sound. It lunges, but its massive shoulders wedge tight. The sanctuary of stone becomes a prison of flesh. It thrashes, its claws scarring deep gouges in the rock, the walls groaning under the strain of its impossible power. The men climb, hands and feet finding purchase, their escape now vertical. They pull themselves onto a high, windswept ledge, finally beyond its reach. They collapse, chests heaving, their bodies trembling with exhaustion and shock. Below, The bear rages, a trapped god of pure destructive force. They do not watch. They listen to the sounds of its fury until it finally, hours later, subsides. They have survived. They are alive. But they are diminished, forever marked by the raw, untamable power of this new land. As dusk falls, the leader removes a small leather pouch. Inside is a lump of red ochre. Wordlessly, he and the young man marked their faces, a silent ritual for the man they left behind. It is a promise to remember the cost of this day, a testament to the fact that even in an age of monsters, the most profound forces are still found within the fragile community of ancient history. The two survivors do not descend for a day and a night. They are witnesses to their own fragility, perched above a world that nearly erased them. This encounter was not a battle. It was a lesson etched in blood and stone. The core of their survival skills was not the spear, but the mind's ability to see the world as a set of levers and fulcrum to turn a rock maze into a shield, to transform a predator's greatest strength into its fatal flaw. This is the quiet, momentous turning point in the story of Homo sapiens. The realization that true dominion comes not from matching brute force, but from subverting it with intellect. This event, and countless others like it, would become the unspoken foundation of our species' improbable ascent, a foundational piece of evidence in the field of anthropology. They survived not because they were the strongest, but because in the face of annihilation, they could still think, plan, and sacrifice for one another. That is the ghost in our machine. The ancient instinct that whispers to us from across an ocean of time. We still seek high ground when we are afraid. We still build walls to keep the monsters out. And we still carry the ochre marks of those we have lost. Their terror is our inheritance, their hard -1 wisdom. The bedrock of all we have built. How much of our modern world is just a more elaborate ledge, built to keep the wilderness at bay? The silence of the past is not empty. It is filled with the echoes of choices that forged us. A new dawn breaks, but the thing in the rocks below is not gone. It is simply waiting.